This is another good one. SB 6291. Yes. And SB 6292 concerning electronic monitoring of domestic violence perpetrators. Now, as of Senate second reading, 2918, yes, modifies the Sentencing Reform Act of 1981 to include electronic monitoring with victim notification technology, which is capable of notifying a victim or protected party, either directly or through a monitoring agency, if the monitored individual is at or near a location for which the monitored individual is required to stay away. Now, I'm thinking this is one of those ankle bracelets, but I'd just like to know of all of those that had a protection order issued against them, yes, where it says that you have to stay away from the school, the workplace, the house, yes, the restraint provisions of the protection order. It looks to me like we're just on the verge, yes, that every time you issue a protection order, we're all going to be wearing ankle bracelets because somebody alleged domestic violence or child abuse. Requires the administrative office of the courts to develop a list of vendors or enter into a contract with the vendor that provides the technology. Create an informational handout on the opportunity to request the technology provided to individuals seeking a protection order. Yes. And provide funding to counties to cover the cost of the technology when respondent is unable to pay for the costs. Yes. Now let's look at this. All right. 2018, 2019, right. You decide to issue one of these, right. And I didn't get any actual notice, but you served me in the Sequim Public Library, yes, by an individual that happens to violate the policy conditions of your umbrella policy because it wasn't a sheriff. Yes. And then you tell the petitioner that didn't sign it, well, we're going to let Paul know, yes, that he can wear an ankle bracelet for the next 10 fucking years. It looks like your protection orders, excuse me, just reading it, yes, as it suggested, concerning electronic monitoring of domestic violence perpetrators. As of Senate second reading, modifies the Sentencing Reform Act of 1981 to include electronic monitoring with victim notification technology, which is capable of notifying a victim or protected party, yes, through a monitoring agency. Now, a list of vendors, could you get those for me? Yes. And an informational handout on the opportunity to request the technology to be provided to individuals seeking a protection order. Seeking a protection order. Providing funding to counties to cover the costs with the respondents unable to pay for the costs. Yes. Now, this was in the 2018 regular session. I would say, okay, as much as you dislike the thought of this, yes, that when you use forgery, yes, to issue a protection order, yes, and you issue it for 10 years, yes, it could have been, yeah, that in the next few years I'll get an ankle bracelet for the next 10 fucking years. I'm going to sue you for that one. Is not just privacy. There's what's called the equal protections of the laws. And it's providing funding to counties to cover the cost of the technology when the respondent's unable to pay for the cost. What's the probability? Yes, that I myself, as Paul C. Budnick, who's named respondent, yes, would actually be charged for the cost of it because the county never pays a fucking dime. Now, you're putting in place, yes, a type of monitoring system where the individual that of alleged to have committed domestic violence, Jack, Exhibit A, that never got any notice of court hearings, yes, that never was in court, yes, that you're just going to issue these things and then I'm going to have to wear it for the rest of my life. And if it's not on, well, let's look at false arrest and false allegation of violating the restraint provisions. Let's say I have one of these little ankle bracelets on, yes, and you say I'm in Sequim, Washington when I wasn't, yes. Should I, as a respondent, want to wear one of those for the next 10 years? Yes. So as to make sure that if you arrest me for the false allegation of violating the restraint provisions, I have the absolute very best AAA evidence to prove I wasn't fucking there. Now, I thought, yes, he did, that the only way that I would ever be able to defend myself against false arrest and false imprisonment, yes, was to get myself one of these ankle bracelets that I'm going to pay for, yes, because of the false allegation of child. Well, looks like you have completely done away with any of the civil rights of those that are known as respondents. Yes. Because as soon as you issue one of these, restrained, 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 excluded. Oh, 1,000 feet. Let me think. You're going to put a little GPS marker on every location. Yes. And if I get anywhere near it, you're going to show up as top secret police department. Yes. And you're going to arrest me for being exactly within 1,000 feet of being prohibited and knowingly coming within any residence, workplace, or school. Now, if I looked at your GPS technology, if I looked at the geotagging technology, drown right now, if I looked at the geolocation of all of this technology, I would say that as soon as I'm within 299 feet of the First Baptist motherfucking you're going to show up in blue. You're going to throw me in the slammer. And you're going to prosecute me for violating the restraint provisions of the protection order. Now, why don't you get me your ankle bracelets and all the vendors? Because I'm thinking there's